this old school. See?
Shame between here.
It's not you. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the boombar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Sola Rogers. You know, the one and only. And with me in the studio today is
It's the boombar on your Boom Radio. Oh, okay. What is your intro, Miomo? Yes, this one did the intro, but it's not our job to do intro today. We have
this one, you mean?
This one. You know, every time I say this one, my mind goes to the debate between Barack Obama and the Republican candidate of that year. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing his face now. The short, nice man. Oh God. Who did Obama contest against first?
It's McCain.
Senator McCain. Yeah. And when it was they were debating, and there was a point where Senator McCain said, "Guess who voted against something? This one. Guess who did this one." And every time he pointed at Obama and said this one, he thought he was doing something big, but they came for him like, how would you refer to Obama as this one? Why would he say this about Obama? And it became a thing. So this one just stuck with me, and I use it affectionately. And I say this one.
But you have to now say this one affectionately.
I'm not going to say it affectionately. I use it affectionately. I can say it disaffectionately by using it affectionately.
Okay.
Yes, it's your affection.
And who did this to you?
And by talking about affection, you know, I don't know how Dolupo does it, but she's one big thief. Like, she knows how to rig a birthday to put the boombar. Like, I swear.
Okay.
Alone. She just does one kind edification and endowment movement. People don't even know. The other things are, it's a party. Feel it from anyhow. You know, I talked about the endowment earlier.
Oh my God!
And yes, if you're just joining us for the very, very first time, or you're just joining us today, it is the boombar. It's a special edition. It's Dolupo's birthday, and Dolupo thinks that she's special. No, she's not. She's extra special. That's who she is. She's one of the best human beings that God ever made. And it's always a pleasure to be here when she's celebrating her birthday, or even when she's having her crazy moments. And there are quite a few.
I second that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But I know that every piece of research that I've done, every advice that I've gotten from, you know, YouTube creators and online presenters, they say, look, don't dwell on something for too long. Move on to the next one, and let your intros be short, and don't talk. No, sorry. Today
we're gonna drag it.
It's World Dolupo Day.
We want to drag it.
Yes, it's World Dolupo Day. Okay. Happy birthday, Dolupo. God bless you. God guide you. God keep you. Thank you for being you. Yeah. Every aspect of you. Yeah. You know, and that's what it is. And on behalf of all of us at Boom Radio NG, we present this beautiful cake. Shout out to Caramella Cakes. You know you're amazing. You guys, great. You guys know you're amazing, right? This is great. You know you're amazing, right?
This is lovely.
You know, a big shout out to Caramella Cakes. You guys are amazing. God bless you. CEO Tony Olukole. She's my sister, so let me just.
And the husband is my brother.
Yes. Jide is his guy.
Okay.
Who's your guy?
He's my guy.
You know. So thank you for being you, Dolu. God bless you. God guide you. God keep you. And on that note, let's get straight to the real boombar, where she starts to do what she does.
Happy birthday, Dolupo.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Okay,
happy birthday.
At this point,
you didn't get one. Now you got like 100.
Yeah.
It's too late.
It's never too late.
Anyway,
be coming down.
You know.
Coming down. You tell me all the time.
Words of Mabulo.
Mr. T, be coming down. Dolupo. Coming down.
They will not be coming down.
Anyway, I'm still going back to anyway.
Anyway, which is no way.
To say to you before.
Okay.
Anyway,
which is no way.
For people that take public holidays, e.g., I have a friend that as of last week, she was already planning So I have a party on Sunday because there's no work on Monday. So that, and I'm like, how do you know this? Don't you know that the government will announce? I'm like, wow, woo, you people already.
Well, they're planning it.
They're already planning it.
I want Tiania.
So for the people that are looking forward to public holidays, it is safe to say that there is going to be public holiday next week, Monday. It is official. We know that from President Buhari had declared June 12 official Nigeria's Democracy Day. And at least we know that President Tinubu is not going to change it. Not likely. So now they've even officially declared that there's public holiday June 12th. I think that's Monday. Yeah, that's next week, Monday. So it's pretty going to be a very long holiday. Just wanted to put that out there, It's interesting when in a while, it's one person that when you write this story, it's one person's name that you see a lot there. But is it not interesting that is how life moves, yeah? Mm-hmm. It like about 2 weeks ago, this particular person, the Minister of Interior, was still the one that announced the last public holiday, May 29. Now here we are, we say federal government. Wow, life is really transient. And talking about him, the immediate past Minister of Interior, which in my own dictionary, best at declaring public holidays.
I agree.
He has now come out to make a statement. Now, there's a statement that has been going around the whole, there's been on social media and all that since yesterday, talking about him making some form of apology to the president and the former governor of Osun State, that he made a mistake and blah, blah, blah and all that. Now, he has now come out to say that he made no such statement. But he
denied it.
Yeah, he just denied it. But he's also saying that he's not holding grudges. I'm like, okay, wait, is it your grudge to hold? Like, I don't understand. Is it your grudge to hold? I didn't know you were holding grudges against who? Who was getting... Okay, for people that do not understand, the story, the background story is that we know that he was a governor under the APC party. He definitely became a minister because he was a member of the APC under President Buhari. In fact, he got 2 terms being a minister. And for that reason, it was almost, surprising. It was really surprising when we saw a lot of talks from him, talking about the president, talking about the former governor of Osun State. There was always talks of them being some form of rift or something. Mm-hmm. But there are videos out there of him really, really talking down the president when he was campaigning and all that. It's some very distasteful things he had said. So when I saw the statement where he said that no, he did not put an apology, which makes sense. He's his right to say no.
He said it was the devil, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. That he's now saying that he did not say that.
Okay.
But I'm now saying his recent statement now says that he's not holding grudges to anybody. I now say, okay, is it your grudge to hold?
Okay.
I actually went back to read some of the things that were purportedly said by him yesterday at his homecoming. He's gone back to Osun State for a bit, because we know he's going to end up in Lagos anyway. So he's gone back to Osun State. He had this rousing welcome by his people, which is actually fantastic. And in mentioning the devil and all of that, what I think he was saying is that he had reached out to the party supporters and said, look, if we do not put our house in order, we will allow the devil a chance to come in and take over and blah blah blah. And at the end of the day, that has happened. I don't know if he's referring to Governor Adeleke as devil now. I don't know. He should come and explain that one, since he likes explaining his so-called statements. However, if you read between the lines, or even read the lines themselves without going between itself. He sounded like someone who had an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything he's done sounded like an agenda. Today he was at the palace of one of the, big kings in Osun State, and he was also telling him to get involved and this and that. And I'm like, you actually don't need that if you don't have something to prove.
Yeah.
If you didn't do something wrong in the first place, you don't need to start saying all these things that you're saying. So I feel, a part of me really feels that Mr. or Alaji or Chief Ralph Aregbesola has an agenda. His agenda might not be clear to us at the moment, but it definitely has an agenda. When you look at his actions before, Dolupo made reference to something. I'm sure we discussed that thing at one of our boombars. That I'm not sure we started tagging properly that time. But he in a video, he said that he has prayed to God to bring somebody down. I'm not even paraphrasing, am I? It's like I'm almost quoting him verbatim.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't see that. We
Yeah.
saw that.
We saw the video.
Okay, fine.
It's not a matter of statements.
Now
They're
comes back to
they're
say he
videos.
didn't
to-
say it.
Videos.
You now say he didn't say it.
No,
he's saying that-
he's saying that he's not holding grudges.
He doesn't-
And he feels that people.
You're
should
the
move
one that they should be
forward.
holding grudge
Exactly.
against.
That's why I was like, who is holding grudge against who? Like, okay, make it make sense.
I think we have to learn how to spur our emotions whenever we have the opportunities to. Okay, something happened overnight to this morning. Let me use the American airspace, for example. It's the PGA and LIV merger.
Yeah.
One guy was being interviewed, McIlroy, right? One of the top golfers. And he said this, I hate them. The word hate to me was and I thought I was the only one. I said, I hate them, but really we should come together. You get the word hate. He never thought about it. And the CNN used that aspect. It was
Of
used
course, people
over
are going
time.
to.
For me, it wasn't necessary. You need to watch
what you say, what you put out.
what you put out.
Yeah, I agree with
Can
you.
I quickly just say something about Rory McIlroy saying I hate them and all? The English, who are the original owners of the language anyway, actually do not had certain sentiments or interpretations to some words.
Okay.
We tend to, read meaning into words and read between the line all the time. And there are words that the English just use, and they just use it. Do you get, like, when they say something like, "Oh, he's a terrible guy," they're probably even hailing you.
With you.
No, but hate is
hate
very.
is wrong.
No, I think hate is a very strong word. Now, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, it says when you feel an intense dislike for. Intense dislike.
Now you're looking,
Not just
you're
dislike.
looking at the literary angle to
Yeah.
this. I am looking beyond the literary. Like I said, again, they use those words in certain contexts. Like for instance, when they say it's quite a few, they actually mean plenty. Idiomatic expressions and everything.
Yeah, but this one
Then people start to take them literally. Then again, but in the context that he said eight, it's like it's just like trying to bring from negative to positive, that I can't stand these guys, but we need them. So at the end of the day, people are dwelling on the negative that he had converted to positive.
Okay, now let's hold it there. Pause a while. Let's come back home. Let's come back home. Okay. Now he says, and in a natural setting, this is all belief, tradition, and all that Nigerian has. You are going to say something and you place God first. You place God first. You see, before you say it, or as soon as you said it, it's a big pull down. If we go back to what he had said, and calling, referencing God in that state means that this is deliberately intentional.
Intense,
If I
Yeah,
can
that
say
you have,
that.
you have told
Yeah.
God to bring someone
to bring
down.
somebody down. And I think, and those things are forever. Hey,
the same.
They're forever.
The same former minister of Interior, right? It was Interior.
Yeah.
Also said in a video, and he was referencing he was inferring that now President Tinubu, then just citizen Tinubu,
I like that.
was there was this video that was making rounds that they said he had peed on himself and whatever, and he actually referenced that, and he poked fun at him a lot. I just feel that honestly, we should learn how to put our emotions in check.
Yeah,
I
think
what
that even
Mr.
if that's how you feel,
that's what,
maybe not put some things.
You don't need to even put it out.
Put it out, yes.
That's what Tokunbo was trying to say about McElroy. But as a spin doctor, I just put in a little bit of spin.
I like your angle too.
You know that look.
What I saw was, that's strong hate.
Yeah.
That was what I saw.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, but it is what it is at the moment. But we will see what happens with that conversation. Of course, we saw there were a lot of instances where, of course, we didn't see him on the campaign trail of the APC presidential candidate, now president. We did not see him throughout, but whether during the primaries or during the elections. The only time he was really visible during elections was the Lagos State during the Lagos State gubernatorial election. So yeah, we'll see how definitely that works. Now, moving from that, there are a few conversations that wanted to have basically about assemblies. But before we get to that, wanted to just put out a statement where the president has now directed the National Economic Council, that is normally led by the vice president, has now said that there's to work on palliatives for subsidy removal. I think they're giving them about a month to work on that and give a favorable response. We know that, of course, subsidy removal is a huge thing at the moment.
One of the exciting things for me as a Nigerian and as a citizen and as an observer or an analyst is the background of the vice president.
Yeah, he's a banker.
Now, if you take it to 1999, we had President Obasanjo, his vice president, constitutionally mandated to be in charge of these things.
Yeah,
was a former customs officer and a businessman. Yeah, I get that.
Thank you.
Then fast forward to the next dispensation, it was Umar Yaradua
and Goodluck
Jonathan. Goodluck Jonathan was an academic, Abi?
Yes.
It was an academic.
Yes.
It wasn't a businessman.
No, he was
or
not.
an economist.
It was.
Or a banker or anything. Yeah.
The ones we call Omowe.
Yeah, Omowe. In Yoruba, Omowe. Then you go to Jonathan as president. Namadi Sambo. I really don't know nothing about Namadi.
He's an architect. I think he's an architect.
That's why I said I don't know nothing about it.
He's more of
you get
building.
You get. Then go to Muhammadu Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo. Yemi, lecturer, professor of law.
We know he's a
law.
lawyer, yeah.
Law. This is the first time that you have a vice president who is actually from the finance sector.
Yeah, actually.
This
Now
is the
that I'm
first
thinking
time.
about it, yes.
First time.
And the vice president does not.
It's the first
all
time.
the speeches that we've seen a lot, even when they were campaigning, he doesn't shy away from the fact that he's been a banker most of his life.
The first time, again, I make bold to say, and I stand to be corrected. I am not that you would have a former governor as a vice president.
Goodluck Jonathan was governor.
For 8 years.
No, okay, you're not putting.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like someone who, Jonathan was governor.
Was he ever governor? I think he was deputy governor.
No, he was governor. He took over from Alam.
Yeah.
He took over from Alam.
For how long?
But a former governor who was successful. If you go back to check the strides that Shettima made,
especially in
let me qualify it as successful. Do you understand? Then his experience in banking, you cannot wish it away. You cannot.
So there's the governance. Then
So,
he was a senator. He's a senator.
He's no more a senator. They shut down yesterday.
They shut down the United Assembly.
Okay, he's not longer a senator.
He's not.
Because I was going to say.
He even resigned, so he's not a senator.
Okay, he did.
He's not a senator, Sha.
Anyway.
He's not a senator. He was a senator. But you can call him senator. Like you can call Bola Tinubu
when I
senator.
say former senator, you say no.
No, you don't call former. You can call him senator. I just corrected you now.
Okay.
Because I knew you were going there. That's why I quickly said it. There are no former senators.
Okay.
There are former governors, but there are no former senators. A senator is a senator.
But there's no in the house. If you're not in the house, you're not a senator.
Now you know. This one shall like one.
Anyhow,
all of these things I'm saying about Kashim Shettima is that I am excited at what they can come up with, knowing that he's from the private sector.
Yeah.
And he has public sector experience. It's the best balance. Always go and check. Factional was private sector guy. He was a fantastic lawyer. He did very well in his career as a lawyer. Became a son at a very young age and all of that. Abi?
Yeah, and
then he came into the public sector. It's
okay.
always a good blend. Go and check it. Just go and check. Every time you see someone who has private sector and public sector experience, it always comes out. It always comes out.
The dynamics
well.
of it.
So I am excited that going forward, we have someone who really might be able to, take charge of the economy.
And to think that when the choice was being made years ago, many months ago, people failed. Months ago, thank you.
I think it was just more political and not analytical.
It was more political.
I think it was just political.
Accidentally, it's playing out to be real banger. Because whether we like it or not, I don't want to talk about my assessment of the government so far, but I chip in that this has been, for me, a very deliberate move in involving people.
Yeah, I think that I like that word deliberate.
Yeah, letting people play
there's a
certain role.
Yes.
So it's not just government hitting back at this is what we want to do. We are bringing people in to tell us how it's going to be done, and these are people who have experienced
now
the atmosphere, gone out of their realm, comfort zone to test the waters outside. I'm coming back to tell us these are the things we found.
I am excited at what Dolupo has said and what Tokunbo has pointed out. Especially when you talked about getting people. It's like the proverbial round pegs in round holes. Yeah. In the last 12 days of a new presidency, we've had a lot of awareness, information being, in fact, majorly forced down our throats. As against when we were begging to say, okay, what exactly are you doing?
And we're talking about the mood of the government.
Yeah.
Let's not speculate. Yeah. Let's know what it is.
Then we have seen a structured movement.
Very.
Look, at this point in our lives, we're at a place where we need to speak. We cannot be goaded. We cannot be, held back. Yeah. The truth is, I am actually excited at the fact that
about things to
there's
come.
There's a structured movement. There's this systemic,
more like deliberate.
Deliberate, systemic, structured movement that shows that there's a plan.
Maybe they have an
idea. There's a plan. I remember when Barack Obama became president of America. His first trip to Africa, he refused to come to Nigeria. He picked the countries he wanted to go to. People were angry and this. But at a speech, I think it was in Ghana or somewhere, he said that Africa's problem is that they're building strong men. They're not building strong institutions.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. Now, all these moves in 12 days has me thinking about strong institutions. That, there's this sector by sector, meeting and arrangement and agreements and all of that, Then, there was supposed to be a strike, then there's no strike. When there was a strike before you came and the strike has stopped, that he's suspended for 21 days and all of that.
The people who called for the strike are actually the ones suspending the strike.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that pattern? They called for it and they suspended it or delayed it.
So in all of this, we recognize that there is no perfect system or no perfect person, but maybe just maybe, we're onto something. But it's early days.
We definitely will see. We definitely will see how all that would play out. Quickly, also, let's move on from that and let's move on to the National Assembly. So, first things first. The 10th National Assembly's inauguration is on the 13th. Yes, it's the 10th Assembly. For people that were wondering, it's the 10th Assembly, and the inauguration is going to be on the 13th day of June. That's the day after the public holiday. Just wanted to put it out there. Also, wanted to talk about a few things with the National Assembly. The first thing I want to talk about is, I don't know if this is a good number or a bad number, but there's talks about how during the valedictory session yesterday, it was said that the House of Representatives passed 510 out of 2,232 bills in 4 years.
Well, if you do that by average,
the percentage is just like
that's 20-something%, right?
No.
Less than 30%.
Yeah, about 25%.
Yeah, that's why I said 20-something, right? 30, yeah. Because me, I know no maths, but I know money. So when I see 2,000, now money come my mind. Say 2,000 naira divided by 500 and something naira is. You understand?
Okay, it's less
you understand?
Okay, it's less than 30%.
Yeah, I'm correct. Correct. But that's not the issue.
So is that really a good number? I wanted us
I don't think it should be about the numbers.
Yeah,
I think it should be about the quality of the bills.
Now, I wanted to talk about a few bills that were passed.
Yes.
One of the bills, remember that this National Assembly was the one that passed the Electoral Act, the very popular one that we were talking about. Yes. Remember, it is this same one, the Petroleum Industry Act,
PIA.
The PIA is the same assembly. The police, the new police bill, it was under them. So when we really look at some very strategic and some very popular legacy bills, can we give this National Assembly a pass?
Now this is it. Depends on who you're talking to or who you're listening to. Oh, they were referred to as a rubber stamp. If you look at the 8th Assembly,
there was a lot of rancor.
The 8th Assembly did a lot. They did a lot under the leadership of
Bukola Saraki.
SP Bukola Saraki. But the part where I wasn't happy with him, it's not even how he got it, is at the end when he had to sit down with some young people. There's a video online where he was talking about how he was cutting budgets and how he was reducing things from happening. And I'm saying to myself, Lagos Ibadan.
Yeah, there was talks of reducing the budget and that those things would have been finished a while ago.
Why would you do that? Do you understand? Lagos Ibadan is not for Buhari now. It's not for Fashola now. It's for me. It's for all of us. It is arguably the biggest artery in Africa.
It's the busiest expressway.
And you're actually out on video saying that you're okay, that you stalled.
You stalled the...
No, sir. So that was the 8th Assembly. And when we talk about governance or government, we know about the judiciary and their oversight functions and their law-making functions.
No, law withholding functions.
Lawmaking.
No, law. You said judiciary.
No, I'm sorry. Judiciary.
The legislative.
Legislative law-making functions, oversight functions.
Yeah, okay.
Judiciary is about, judgment and rulings and all of that. They're supposed.
That's I say law upholding.
Yeah, they're supposed to be neutral, and they're supposed to, put the law first. And the executive, who bear the brunt of everything that everybody does. And whoever said that you just had to be antagonistic to do your job.
Yeah.
Like there's a misnomer when you say, "Oh, because we're in the judiciary." No, I keep saying judiciary because we're in the legislative. We must antagonize. No, actually, no. You see, it's about passing laws that will impact on the people. Who are the people? Me and you, regular people.
Remember that is this assembly, even though I think there's still a lot of state houses of assembly, is the constitutional amendment. Is under this assembly that also finally ever happened.
Exactly.
So
what I was basically trying to establish is that let us leave the perceptions, negative or positive, perceptions of what their roles are, and look at what the law states and the constitution actually says. What exactly are they supposed to do? Oversight functions. Did they perform it? Oh, yes, they did. Did they pass laws? Yes, they did. Did they represent the people that put them there? Yes, they did. All of them did. They've been doing it from the first assembly to the 9th, and now the 10th that is going to be inaugurated in a few days' time. 5 days. I think it's 5 days from now.
Yeah.
But in all, I think this is the first assembly that was actually able to do more in the area of, changing a lot of laws without us having to do a constituent assembly. What's that thing that they did again? Jonathan did it. Obasa had done it too, where they bring different people, like basically trying to change
conference.
It was like a constitutional review, without having to bring non-elected people.
I
they went from state to state. They did the public hearings. They basically went back to the book and followed through. Again, another plus for this assembly for me is the fact that the constituency development projects now became constituency development projects. The constituencies actually, I can speak for Sulere one. They actually felt the impact.
They did.
As against when people would go and get contractors or get paid to do stuff. Things were done directly, and I want to say kudos to the 9th Assembly.
Okay, now nice. For me, one thing that I felt that, especially with the House of Representatives, even with the Senate, was other than passing laws and all that, they seemed to be a lot more involved in governance. If we will take one example, the ASU strike, the House of Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives, they were really a lot on it.
They're involved.
I was reading a statement where one of the members was talking about the speaker.
The House chairman on education.
Education was talking about the speaker and how the speaker had averted how some people close to the president, former President Buhari, had already brought up documentation.
They were going to prescribe
how they were going to prescribe ASU and all that, and how at 1 a.m.
they met
the Speaker of the House of Representatives had to literally go to the villa and avert.
He said Baja told him, meet me by the gate at 1 a.m. I think their conversation started around 10-11 p.m. And he said to him, meet me by Aso Rock Gate by 1 a.m. Meaning that Baja must have picked his phone and said, look, I need to speak with the president. And if he didn't get the green light, he would not go. And that decision would have been made in the morning. And then they were able, and it would have been catastrophic.
I think it would have, because there would have been a lot of rancor here and there. So I remember there was an NMPC audit. I think that for me, we saw a lot more work go on with this National Assembly than what we've seen in recent times. So I personally, and then with a lot of very, very interesting bills that were passed. We've seen the Electoral Act has been going back and forth for years.
And the PIB.
The PIB has been going on since even before
so
President Buhari
So
went
timely.
on. You know, I think
But-
that
but
they
again-
took on a lot.
But again, you know, we're not the rubber stamp of the rubber stamp assembly or alleged rubber stamp assembly. I think they actually still messed up a lot. You know, they didn't do certain things. For instance, all the probes that we saw, where's the result?
What happened to them? Yes.
Remember-
I totally remember.
The Niger Delta Commission probe.
Very dramatic.
Remember
Very-
that man that
that fell,
That fell.
and I was.
have you
sleeping.
seen him
I was
after that
thinking,
day?
Yeah.
Have you heard anything? These guys need to stop playing with us. We have given you kudos where you did well, oh, but now let's talk about it. How come someone came to faint
I was.
and he
peeping,
has faded away?
and it's faded away. I agree with you
and
on
the
that.
issue also faded.
And the
with it.
issue has
Faded
faded,
with it.
away.
I totally agree with you on that angle. Also, another thing that I was also going to say was I felt a bit of it where they were a little bit rubber stamp. Why did I say so? Is because if we look through, there were a lot of probes that they had with the CBN governor, this person, that person. But also a part of me felt that every single request that President Buhari, maybe especially in terms of loans and all that was sent to the Senate and the House of Representatives, there wasn't really some form of opposition when it came with a lot of things.
It wasn't well tried.
I think it was just then another
She's
thing
saying-
that I
she's
noticed,
basically saying there were no pushbacks.
there were
There
not
were
Or
enough
there were not
pushbacks.
enough
Yes,
pushbacks.
and even a lot
Yeah.
of the budgets that we saw year in year out. In fact, one thing that was very common was there was always an addition to the budget that was sent by the presidency year in year out.
That has been since 1999.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it didn't seem like they were going to change the flow, because for you to anybody that knows anywhere, even if it's just to remove 1 naira or cross out something, the point of budget, defense and all that is at least be able to, you know, let's even. But you people you don't even reduce anything. You end up adding stuff, and there's almost no explanation for it.
Yeah. There were cases like that.
Yeah, I also think that they used quite a lot and successfully too. They used the media. They used publicity, and it was well strung. It was well tied to most of the things they did.
Yeah.
And to me,
You know, they actually streamed their sessions.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
really impressive.
Sure.
And over time, it became a place to go for everybody who wanted to see what was actually happening.
It was
Whether
always
you
out
were
there.
sleeping legislature, we are not. Everybody would see it.
Mhm.
Now there was another thing that the speaker brought out. Brought out was the fact that they had a plan to create an institution for the training and for other legislatures coming after
Governance.
governance.
They actually achieved it.
They achieved that.
Yeah.
And it was, to me, it really sank in me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's teach them how you can't come from a village, wherever you're coming from, and you sit in Abuja, and that's going to be the first time you're actually coming into that kind of environment. What is expected
of you?
Okay, how do you present bills? How do you bring issues up? And the procedure from the house from the beginning to the end, you should know. And they thought they could do that by creating a kind of a class or a culture or an institution to teach people how it's done. And I think that's a very great one for democracy to thrive and for advancement of what I call the Nigerian style. Everybody's going to be on the same page with that.
Okay. That's very, very interesting. Now, before this National Assembly ends up like packing up, they have now passed a bill to make comprehensive provisions for the prohibition and punishment of sexual harassment by educators in tertiary institutions. I think that
so either two people have done it and gotten free. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Or maybe I think it's more of it has never really been a law around it. So even if it gets to court, it's just maybe like sexual harassment, or it's under a blanket thing. So now it is more streamlined to tertiary institutions and those things, which I think makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Look, regardless of what you say or do, you must give a shout out to the BBC and their crew. Even if that report became controversial afterwards,
very
they went undercover and actually made videos of lecturers in certain universities in Nigeria. We've all experienced this. Even Tokunbo did when he was in school.
He did.
He did. Everybody did. We all experienced it.
As experience.
Not necessarily directly, but you had friends and colleagues and classmates and course-mates who had actually been propositioned or sexually abused or attempted to be sexually abused or could have been abused by lecturers or lecturers' assistants and everything. So putting a law out there is good. Majorly because the people who are on the receiving end are usually women. Most times. 90-something%, my own percentage, you can fault it. The bulk of the people who have been at the receiving end of, sexual harassment by lecturers have been women. So if there's a law now, it's beautiful. But I always say one thing. Getting the law right is one. Enforcing the law is more important.
Enforcing the law.
Exactly.
Enforcing the law is more important.
That's what we should now go through to tell them.
For instance,
yes,
Lagos State has the Office of the Public Defender.
Yeah.
Can we have a national Office of the Public Defender now,
now,
where people can walk up to and have their voices heard? It's crazy the things that are happening. A pastor, was paraded a few days ago. I think it was yesterday or so, who had allegedly, because for my safety, legally I have to say allegedly, impregnated his choir mistress and killed her. Then killed the friend and the friend's child because they all knew about it. Yeah, you guys saw those pictures, right? You don't hear about the story?
The story, yes, I heard about that story.
But for instance, if anybody had noticed this, if they had some kind of whistleblowing feedback channel, maybe they would have prevented all of this from happening. There are a lot of things happening out there that we need to look out for. Men, women being harassed, children
too,
being harassed and everything. And we must realize that we're only here for a time. We're all human. There's an expiry period. But as long as you're here, you would like to live in a world that is safe. So kudos to them, but can we expand this and make it better?
Exactly. Oh, now let's move on quickly. But the news coming from a lot of assemblies now. First, Nasarawa Assembly. There's been a lot of drama happening in Nasarawa State. As of yesterday, they had 2 speakers.
True.
Please repeat that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had 2 speakers of the state. Has
2 speakers were elected in Nasarawa State.
In Nasarawa State, the governor at some point had declared the inauguration. What's the word now?
He had inaugurated
the
new assembly,
and it was just a lot of. There's really.
Then there was another election somewhere, and another speaker was elected.
As of today, there was talks of having 2 different people. There are protests that is happening at the grounds. There is also talks of having 2 speakers and having 2 plenary sessions, and some set of people had come to the assembly as early as 1 a.m.
They learned from the best now.
So
it happened in Abuja one time like that. Some people slept in their cars just so that they could choose their own Senate president.
I honestly feel that at this point,
speaker.
As much as I saw a part of the interview that the governor had this morning, but which I kind of agree with him. There isn't a lot that the governor can do. He is not part of the legislature. This kind of issues, as much as it might maybe on personal level talk to each person, but I also feel that it is not his purview. This kind of thing, they really need to deal with it themselves. This is the kind of thing that if they're not careful, the National Assembly will probably have to butt in with this thing. There's really a lot of drama happening there. They're locking themselves out. Now, the last we heard of is that the police has now taken over the State Assembly and they've sent everybody home.
Well, for starters, that's the first and best thing to do.
Yeah, let everybody now moving on from Nasarawa State, we're moving to Lagos State, the State House of Assembly, where the new speaker, we call him new speaker because he's been speaker for quite a number of times. Anyway, the current newly elected speaker has now made a pronouncement at his re-election, where he has said that the State Assembly will soon make laws that will protect the interests of indigenous people of the state, talking about how he's saying that Lagos is not a no man's land. Now, what does that remind us of? Reminds us of conversation of elections,
right? Yes.
Matters. Now, is that right of him to say?
Well,
or should those laws even be in place at all?
Should the laws be in place at all? That's the first thing, and it comes back to what a bit of what we've been saying earlier, including what Shola dropped, that we should have a way to try. When I say try, T-R-Y, to deliberate extensively on laws that are being pushed out. That is coming from the Honorable Speaker. Doesn't mean it can't be tested. I still think that everybody, when I say everybody, within the structure, okay, can still have a say before it rolls and becomes a firm situation. Because that's you picked it up. Okay, why did you pick it up? Because you found it to be very sensitive. It's a very sensitive issue, and it's something that had been trailing the particular elections we just had.
Yeah. And
it just shows that we needed to be careful.
Now, according to his statement, sorry to cut you short, just wanted to put that thing, you continue. He said a part of it is that Lagos is a Yoruba land as against assertions of some people that it's a no man's land. Therefore, part of our legislative agenda is to ensure translation of laws passed by the House in Yoruba language. Now, let me move further. He now made a statement and said, going forward in this wise, we're going to employ all legislative instruments for the support of the indigenes of Lagos. There will be laws and resolutions in areas of economy, commerce, property, and titles.
And titles.
Isn't that very...
Okay, he talked about language first. Let me start with languages, right? The composition of the house, it's not only about language setting. You have other people who are in the house who are not really origins.
But that's now, where the issue goes to, is that if you are representing a certain kind of people, take for example, you're representing Agege. The local people in Agege or the indigenes of Agege in Lagos are supposed to be Yorubas.
Expectedly.
So,
expectedly, yes, I agree.
Now there's the conversation of should only people from that area that are proper indigenes of that area
should they be the ones contesting and going to the house?
That's another conversation.
Number one.
Exactly.
Currently, right, it is not so.
Oh yeah, I get you.
So
totally agree.
When we're now bringing Yoruba,
which is probably peculiar to Lagos State.
It is it's peculiar though, yes. So, but for me, if we go a little bit further, it means that languages have to be infused into the various sessions.
So a couple of years ago, when I say a couple, I mean well over 15 years ago, my brother-in-law was going to do a presentation to the Oyo State House of Assembly about investments and all of that, and he was granted the floor. He presented to them, and at some point, someone walks up to him and says, "You're losing these people. Speak Yoruba. Speak Yoruba." in Oyo State, it's actually right for you to speak Yoruba on the floor of the house.
Yeah.
It's a part of the system of the house.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, it is. In Lagos, why is it bad to speak Yoruba?
Like he had said,
Do you
the
understand?
composition of the house.
So, where I'm going with this is that we need to be fair to all. Lagos is metropolitan.
Yeah.
Cosmopolitan, metropolitan, and every town that you can think of. But during the elections, it became a sore talking point that some people felt that they had lost their heritage, they had lost their land. Because some people told them straight up that, oh yeah, you sold land to us, so you don't have a say. I'm going to go back to what I'm saying, but I'm going to read what the candidate of the Labour Party in Lagos, Gbadebo Rhodes Viver, had said in response to this. You know, he has cautioned the speaker against laws that would divide Lagos residents along ethnic lines. And he says, you know, that any enacted law that seeks to reverse property rights in favor of indigenous people. I don't know if they said that was what they were going to do. Maybe he has seen it and he's saying it. You know,
No, I think Dolupo you read it as part of what he said he would do.
no, to reverse property rights.
Oh, not to reverse.
No, I don't think they want to do that.
No, he didn't talk about it.
Yeah, but he's saying it here that to reverse property rights in favor of indigenous people of Lagos state at the expense of other residents is divisive and not in the economic interest of Lagos. That's one. You know, because the speaker said what he said, there's another part that I want to read from Gbadebo Rhodes Viver. By considering this regressive bill, the speaker disregards the spirit of the Nigerian constitution and perpetuates a discriminatory system that divides our society along ethnic lines. The proposed bill undermines the principle of private ownership and could severely affect investment, economic growth, and overall prosperity in Lagos. By considering such legislation, the speaker is sending a damaging message to the local and international investors, discouraging their participation and confidence in the state's economy. You know, instead of promulgating such a law, Roosevelt advocated for state laws that will rather protect heritage, historical sites, and traditional institutions from political vandalism. This I have read from the punchng.com, so they own all the credit for what I have read. Now, I think that Gbadebo is going, you know, way ahead of himself because there's no bill.
There's no bill. There's no law. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Like, I'm not saying he's wrong, but
wait until they actually pass this bill before you can react. So again, this is him, you know, more or less shooting himself in the foot.
I think you should
because
hold on.
You need to see the content of the bill.
Then we can say for a fact what it is.
However, if it's okay to speak Yoruba in Oyo State, and it's okay to speak Hausa and Igbo and other languages in all those states, why is it wrong to speak in
So
in
it's
Yoruba?
safe to say that Lagos State is a Yoruba state.
Yes, it is.
It
Now,
is a
now,
Yoruba
look at this. Let's look at it. Let's expand it. Let's expand it.
I-
Globally,
Yes.
in Canada, they have two national languages, French and English.
Yeah.
Now, Trudeau, the Prime Minister, would actually have to speak French in some places.
Yes.
So, are you saying that if you go to, because Canada is divided along languages, there's the French speaking and the English speaking. Like Quebec has two parts, and even the entire part of Canada, there's English and the French speaking part of it. So, are you saying that if you go to Canada and you go to the French side and you want to contest for an election, you will not learn how to speak French and you will not communicate in French? Are you saying that, like France has the policy of assimilation? So if me, you, or Tokunbo decide to relocate to France, we must learn French.
Yeah.
Are you saying that when you get there, you will not speak their language?
Which, by the way, was what they did in West Africa then.
Yes.
Yes.
You will speak their language.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, the Francophone.
We have a lot of Nigerians who are living in Asia. They are living in different parts of the world.
You don't have a choice but to.
A Nigerian became a mayor recently, a few days ago in America and all of that. And if he doesn't try to communicate, at times we say it's phone. It's not phone. He's communicating. Because if they say daughter in America and you say daughter, and when you get to America, you say my daughter, and they will look at you and say, okay, what's he saying?
Yeah.
So apart from language, I'm also talking about communication. So I don't think we should make a mountain out of a molehill. That if I want to become a councillor in Anambra and I am allowed to contest as a Nigerian and I have invested in Anambra and the people of Anambra vote me in, I think it will be only right for me to communicate to them in Igbo.
In the language, yeah.
It won't be if I can break the message further. I'll be like, speak to them so that they can understand me better and also see me as one of them.
That's right.
So I don't see a problem.
No, I see two ways into this matter. Let's ask ourselves, why all of a sudden is the house in Lagos thinking like this?
I think it was the whole drama that came up with fallout of the election.
That's where I'm going now. Fallout of the election brought this up. Yeah. And I do not think that we should, we should follow the trail and get it so mongoose or out of.
Don't blow it out of proportion.
I should not blow it out of proportion. Which is why maybe they shouldn't go with the law, because the minute there already talks of this law, there's always going to be the conversation that is because of that's why this happened, and it means that conversation is not going to end anytime soon.
Okay, but however, I want to drop this.
Yes.
Everyone's got to be very reasonable about this. It's not about politics.
No, it's not.
It is not. That is even there. The man you read.
But I think it's going to look very political. It's going to look very political. There's no way
Dolupo,
you're going to spin it that it's not going to look political.
Dolupo, there are 20 recognized local governments in Lagos. There are 2 reps from each local government, making 40. 1 and 2 from every local government. So if I am representing the good people of Surulere 1 or Surulere 2, I'm a Surulere boy, that's why I always mention Surulere. Or Agege 1, Agege 2, Ikorodu 1, Ikorodu 2. And my people are saying to me that we want a law like this.
Okay, though.
What do I do? You are a rep. You are not a governor.
You're not a governor.
You are not an executive. You are representing the good people of your neighborhood. If they're saying to you,
that makes sense.
It's the same way. It's the same way the people that you represent in Aja, in Isolo.
That makes sense.
And anyway, I say, no, we don't want this law. And you will go and say, based on what my people are saying, I'm not going to support this law. Then at the end of the day, democracy is about numbers. And the numbers say, this law is retrogressive, we don't want it, and they don't want it. But I would not like for us to quickly politicize
until we see the bill,
we actually even see the bill in itself.
Let's see what it contains. Okay, that definitely makes sense. And on that note, that is all we'll be able to take today on the boombar. Thank you very, very. Okay.
Anyhow, my own parting shot, I don't care what she's trying to do, is to say once again, Happy World Dolupo Day. Happy birthday, Dolupo. God bless you. God guide you.
Amen.
God keep you.
Amen.
Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time. It's definitely New Music Friday. So there's a lot of music. There's a lot of gist that is buried that we're going to break down here
and
tomorrow.
And Dolupo will still drag Tokunbo to the studio tomorrow.
Yep. Peace. Have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
I came in partly because of your birthday.
You don't have a choice.
And tomorrow is our